Arnab Goswami used to project, even now, he projects himself as a good guy who is actually prosecuting bad guys of politics, cinema, and the corporate world. Just remember his boast, you can't escape us, when he was dealing with the cases of Shashi Tharoor and Riya Chakraborty and many others. He had this habit of throwing challenges like he did to Salman Khan and while he was going after Karan Johar. That high decibel challenges which he was throwing, which normally you see either in Bollywood movies or in the streets of the tougher parts of an urban India. Okay. So apart from targeting several political and Bollywood personalities as Republic TV anchor, he had gone after some corporate biggies like Peter Mukherjee in the Sheena Bora case. Remember that case? Where Sheena Bora was supposedly murdered by her mother, who allegedly was also her sister. God knows, that was a very complicated stuff. At that time, Arnab Goswami was the anchor of Times Now. It is the same Times Now where he actually became famous or notorious or whatever you want to call it. He caught the nation's imagination. And at same Times Now, he is now bad mouthing, especially its prime time anchors like Navika Kumar and others. And they were all his former colleagues who used to be co-panelists or co-anchors when he used to conduct News Hour. Or let us not forget his finger-wagging exhortations to the then CBI chief to put his act together, that when that Peter Mukherjee case was on, or rather now it is his bad luck that the tables have been turned. And this has become possible thanks to the Chatgate. I'm coining this term, Chatgate. I hope it works for my viewers. Media headlines now stalk Goswami with the same Arnabian gusto. He is being tarred in the darkest possible shades. The Republic's knight in saffron armor is now a fallen icon, at least in the eyes of many viewers. I won't say for all, because as far as Arnab Goswami is concerned, he is still the knight in shining armor fighting the bad guys of this world. Why is he being tarred like this? Let us recall the TRP scam, which involved rigging of viewership numbers, and huge amounts of money had changed hands. In October 2020, a complaint was filed by the Hansa Research Group, which alleged that the Republic TV and two other channels were paying vast sums of money to people to watch their channels. 13 people arrested. So, what is there in the chats between Arnab Goswami and Partho Dasgupta that has become the basis of Mumbai Police's supplementary charge sheet? There are discussions on the imminent Balakot, these chats of course, which have been revealed by the Mumbai Police, and now they're all over the social media, and from there whatever I could garner, I am presenting it to you. So in these chats there are discussions between Partho Dasgupta and Arnab Goswami on the imminent Balakot strike to avenge Pulwama. Although it is an old practice for state and central governments to take senior editors of mainstream media outlets on important national issues and sometimes even policies, that is before they go public, they call in these editors, discuss with them, and it's not necessary, but they have been doing this, has been a practice in the past, but only up to certain issues, not everything. Because this is the first time that one single editor has been provided with a strategic information that could have compromised India's security and several lives as well as vital strategic assets of our country. Of course, there are other things in these chats. For example, what Goswami thinks of various politicians, especially BJP politicians, or when he cites a BJP heavyweight while mentioning various politicians like Javadekar and TV anchors like Navika Kumar, etc. But such talk can be classified as inane bitching, But his reference to the late Jaitley, who was that time finance minister and he was on his deathbed, shows what sort of character Arnab Goswami really possesses. One really wonders why he was impatient with Jaitley stretching it. It means why he showed sort of impatience that why is Jaitley still alive. And mind you, Jaitley had done a lot of favors to the likes of Dasgupta and Goswami. In fact, in that same chat, Dasgupta asked whether Jaitley was not dead already. Was it plain insensitivity or something more? I wonder how his patrons in the ruling establishment are viewing this aspect of the chats, because this concerns some of the stalwarts of the BJP. Of course, the great Goswami counterattacks all such charges against him with threats of libel charges. Now, it would be interesting if he really goes ahead with the threat, or it is just another of his blank shells, which he has been firing in the past also. While Dasgupta is behind bars now, Goswami remains free. That's one of the ironies. Both were equally culprits in those chats, but Dasgupta is behind bars and Goswami is firmly in his anchor's seat of Republic TV. Such are the ironies of our governance. And let us not forget that 55 journalists were booked during the COVID lockdown alone for reporting on the pandemic, which was actually an absolutely innocent professional duty of those journalists. They were supposed to report. That's why they were in that profession. If reporting on COVID is a crime, what should the revealing of the Balakot strike 3 days before it actually happened should be treated as? Treason, surely. How did he get that information and why did he reveal it to Dasgupta, which 3 days, on 23rd, I believe. 26th, the strike happened, 26th of February. For the opposition political parties, especially the Congress, this should have been a God-sent opportunity to get back at BJP and its supporters in the mainstream media. Goswami should have been running for cover actually, instead of brazenly standing up and counterattacking his critics. It is puzzling that although the Congress party has belatedly started dealing with the issue, the rest of the opposition has been muted in its reactions even now. There were reactions from the likes of Kapil Sibal, Shashi Tharoor, P. Chidambaram and Prithviraj Chavan of Maharashtra. They have used terms like national security, deeply disturbing and official secrets acts to criticize Arnab Goswami. But we all know that currently they are not considered close to the Congress High Command. Randeep Surjewala, who is also a spokesperson of the Congress, belatedly went hyper on the issue. But then he is a political lightweight anyway. More belatedly, Rahul Gandhi has made a statement asking for booking those who leaked the info under the Official Secrets Act. But this is all tepid now, because there has been a lack of concerted and sustained attempt at cornering the BJP on this vital issue of leaking strategic information to a TV journalist. Who in the government did it? That should have been probed by now, or the opposition should have asked for it. So when this is not happening, when there's a disjointed criticism, nobody is actually trying to go after the culprits, including Goswami. So effectively, Goswami and his mentors have got away with what should have been an exposing revelation against the government. On his Republic TV, Goswami has been quite provocative while responding to the chat-based police charge sheet. He is unashamedly indignant about the way he is being targeted. He forgets how he had gleefully gone after Deepika Padukone, Riha Chakravarti and many others while quoting from their WhatsApp chats. He has slotted the police and the opposition parties as co-conspirators, coordinating with the mythical Tukre Tukre gang. There is no such Tukre Tukre gang in India. It's another of the BJP generated propaganda. The ISI and of course Imran Khan led Pakistan government. His unashamed rant has not elicited any substantive reaction from other news channels or the targeted Congress, which he relentlessly vilifies by calling the party as Sonia Sena and Vadra Congress and God knows what else. Understandably, most of the TV news channels have preferred to ignore the explosive WhatsApp chat revelations. Is this because their respective star TV news persons themselves have been snuggling up to the powers that be? Perhaps they do not want to get ensnared in a lafla with the current establishment by attacking its blue-eyed boy. Perhaps they too have skeletons hidden in their closets. They must be having it. We should not be surprised if those skeletons start tumbling out sooner or later. Let me just mention one such possibility in passing. The free-to-air dish scandal. This free-to-air dish is owned by or distributed by our Doordarshan or Prasar Bharati. According to News Laundry and a couple of other independent news platforms, up to 40 private channels, including 8 of the Republic TV, Arnab Goswami's Republic TV, have been ripping off the Information and Broadcasting Ministry to the tune of crores every month by unauthorizedly using the free-to-air facility. In 2014, there were big rosy promises of a cleaner governance, transparency and a corruption-free nation. Things have moved in exactly the opposite direction. In 2021, a news channel editor can assure his crony in writing in a chat of a cushy job in the PMO and a one-to-one talk with the then Information and Broadcasting Minister, and just about anything that even a powerful bureaucrat wouldn't think of doing. Arnab can say nasty things about judges and ministers, access classified information which he shares with another authorized person, and yet roam free. Worse, he brazenly uses this information to boost his channel's TRPs while doing everything in his power to give a leg up to the ruling party's chances in the imminent elections, which were imminent at that time. They are over now. More brazenly, he uses his position as news anchor to vilify just about anybody he chooses to, with absolutely no repercussions. Nobody has dared to take him on yet. Compare this with what is happening to a journalist named Siddiq Kappan. Do you remember or have you forgotten? Because public memory is always short. And then there is the another comedian like Munawar Farooqi. He is not being given bail, even though the police says there is no proof against him, but they are still pursuing the case. Anyway, the Chatgate has given a handle to Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan against India. Now he claims vindication of his and his military's repeated allegations that the Pulwama tragedy was stage managed for electoral purposes and the Balakot strike was more to divert the Indian public's attention from the worsening domestic conditions in India. This, of course, appears highly improbable. I don't believe this personally. But these allegations are being made, and thanks to these WhatsApp chats. Goswami's highly irresponsible chats with Dasgupta need to be probed. This man has crossed all red lines for journalistic ethics. An Indian Express report of January 19 on the Sushant Singh Rajput case quotes the Bombay High Court as saying that the reportage of Republic Television and Times Now was prima facie contemptuous, with both channels running a vicious campaign playing the roles of the investigator, the prosecutor, as well as the judge. Well, actually, Goswami already fancies himself as the sole voice of India and arbiter of sorts of the Republic of India's destiny. Media is supposed to be the fourth pillar of democracy. It is professionally and morally bound to keep a close watch on the actions of people in power and act as the nation's conscience keeper. At the same time, our rulers must realize that their tendency in the corridors of power is a result of the trust that we, the people of India, have reposed in them. Common people's liberty, dignity, and quality of living depends upon the quality of governance, which the government is duty bound to ensure. And the media is expected to scrutinize every government decision and action diligently. Unfortunately, for a very long time now, the reverse is happening. Our news outlets have become subservient pamphleteers and mouthpieces of the ruling establishment. Arnab represents everything that has gone wrong with our media and the polity. Arnab Goswami will go down as one-man mafiosi who has destroyed the credibility of our news outlets. This damage will take decades to repair, and it will not be possible for just the media to do it. We, the people of India, will have to raise our voice against what is happening in the world of media, news media outlet. They cannot take us for a ride just because they think they are powerful enough to befool us again and again. Let us stop being befooled by the media and their mentors, whoever they are. Thanks for being with me. I'll come back with another episode soon. Bye till then.